Every morning, it was the same story. The sky outside was still a sleepy, deep blue, barely hinting at the dawn to come. I'd be half awake, peering through the living room window, and I'd see her, Mom, walking out of our little house, her work uniform already on, a slight slump in her shoulders, but a determination in her stride that could cut through steel. She always looked so tired. Her face, even from a distance, carried the weight of 1,000 sleepless nights and a million worries. But she never stopped, never slowed down. Her walk was a rhythm I knew by heart, the sound of her worn-out shoes on the pavement, a steady beat that marked the start of our day and the continuation of her endless hustle. Our neighborhood in the south was just waking up. A few porch lights would still be on, casting a soft yellow glow on the dew-kissed lawns. You could hear the first birds starting to chirp, a distant dog barking. It was all so normal, so quiet. But for us, for me, that quiet was always filled with the unspoken reality of our lives. Mom was leaving for her first job, and she wouldn't be back until long after the sun had set on her second one. That was just the way it was. Mama always worked 2 jobs. It wasn't a choice. It was survival. It was the only way to keep the lights on, to put food on our table, to give us a chance at something better, even if it meant she barely had a life of her own. Inside, the house felt different the moment she left. The warmth seemed to follow her out the door. Grandma would already be in the kitchen, a silhouette against the warm light of the stove. The smell of grits and bacon would start to fill the air, a comforting scent that was supposed to make everything okay. My brothers and sisters and I would be at the old wooden table, quiet, not because we were told to be, but because we all felt it. That little pang of knowing Mom was gone again. We'd eat our breakfast. Grandma humming a gospel tune, her presence a steady, comforting anchor in our turbulent little world. She was the glue that held mornings together, so our grandparents or cousins kept us when they could. It was a patchwork of care, stitched together by family obligation and love. When Grandma couldn't, it was Auntie May. When Auntie May had to work, it was our older cousin, Shanice. Our lives were a constant rotation of familiar faces, a village that stepped in because it had to. They were our guardians, our babysitters, our second and third parents. They made sure we did our homework, ate our dinner, and stayed out of trouble. But no one could ever really fill the space Mom left behind. And then there were the others, the ones who were supposed to be the strong male figures in our lives. Uncle Bug and my cousin Teddy, man, to me they were larger than life. Uncle Bug could tell a story that would make you laugh until your sides hurt. And Teddy, he was cool. He knew everybody and seemed fearless. They were them guys to me. The ones who were supposed to teach me how to be a man, how to navigate the world. They were the ones I looked up to, the ones I wanted to be like. But hell, they spent most of their time in jail. It was a revolving door. They'd be home for a few months, and everything would feel almost normal. We'd have cookouts. They'd toss a football with us in the street. They'd slip us a few dollars for candy. For a little while, it felt like we had what other families had. But then, just as quickly, they'd be gone again. A fight, a bad deal, a parole violation. The reasons were always different, but the result was the same. A phone call in the middle of the night, Grandma crying softly in the kitchen, and another empty chair at the table. Their absence was a different kind of quiet. It was a void filled with questions I was too young to ask and answers I was too scared to hear. Why did they keep leaving? Why couldn't they just stay? I saw the pain it caused my grandma, the worry it added to my mom's already heavy load. It was a cycle, a trap that seemed to swallow up the men in our family. I'd see other kids with their dads at the park, teaching them how to ride a bike, and a knot would tighten in my stomach. It wasn't jealousy, not really. It was a deep, aching confusion, a longing for a stability that felt like a fantasy. Looking back, I see it all so clearly now. It was a tapestry of struggle and resilience. My mom's sacrifice was the thread that held everything together. Her exhaustion was the price for her survival. My grandma's cooking was the flavor of unconditional love. My uncle and cousin's incarcerations were the tears in the fabric, the constant reminder of the systemic forces working against us. We were a family defined by absences as much as we were by presences. I learned to be independent early. I had to. I learned to read the moods in a room, to know when to be quiet and when to try and make someone laugh. I watched my mom come home late at night, her face a mask of pure fatigue, and I'd offered to rub her feet. I saw the brief flicker of a smile on her face, and in that moment, I felt like I was helping. I was taking a tiny piece of her burden, even if just for a minute. Those mornings, watching her walk away, they shaped me. They planted a seed of determination in me, too. I didn't want her sacrifices to be in vain. I didn't want to end up like Uncle Bug or Teddy, a ghost in my own family's life. I wanted to break the cycle. I wanted to be the one who stayed. The one who could provide, not just with money, but with presence. The story of my childhood isn't a sad one, not entirely. It's a story of incredible strength, especially from the women who raised me. It's a story about a community that, despite its fractures, held itself together with love and sheer willpower. It's a story about what it means to grow up in the shadow of sacrifice and the profound responsibility that comes with it. Every step my mom took away from that little house in the early morning was a step toward a future she was building for us, one exhausting day at a time. And every day, I try to live a life that honors that walk. Thanks for listening to my story. If this resonated with you, please consider subscribing for more. There's so much more to tell.